Barbara Muller from Switzerland has grown up with pedigree dogs, getting her own Cocker Spaniel in 1970, Old English Sheepdogs in the 1980s, and later in the 1990s PBGVs, having bred many champions, international champions, and world and European winners with her homebred dogs. She started judging in 1980 and became an FCI all-rounder judge in 2011. A member of the Swiss Kennel Club board, she was previously President of the FCI Show and Judges Commission, as well as being Vice President of the FCI European section for many years. Barbara was elected onto the FCI General Committee in 2019 and serves on the Executive Board as Treasurer.
Unfortunately, my part today is not with emotions. There are no emotions in regulations, and I cannot put them in. But anyway, we need regulations, and that's why I'm here today. When I was asked to present the FCI Dog Health and Welfare International Regulations to you today, I thought it would be a fairly easy task. Unfortunately, that was not what I expected. I thought I search in the internet, I go on the FCI website, and then I get everything in one pamphlet, and I present it today to you. That was a dream. It was not as easy as I thought. And finally, I found in different regulations, I found lots of, in various regulations, and I compiled the most important for you. In regulations for FCI dog shows, Article 4, special requirements, it is said that the dog's welfare and health must be of utmost priority at all dog shows. The organizers are requested to add the following message in the show catalogue, giving it sufficient visibility. The exhibitor are responsible for the welfare of dogs at FCI international dog shows. That means that the organizer is not responsible. But do you think that is a good way? This is what we like to see as responsible breeders and exhibitors, and that is what we sometimes see. We have cages here, you can see, with 2 dogs or 3 dogs in, and they cannot sit, they cannot stay, they have really problems. And in my opinion, of course it is the exhibitor who is in charge, but we as organizers should not accept it. And that's why I think the exhibitors are in charge, but also the organizers. We cannot leave anything like that for 2 hours or 3 hours. I made this photo by myself, and I watched at the time, these dogs were more than 2 hours in that box. And the people probably had a good coffee. And that is not what we call welfare. The next one is, it is forbidden to expose a dog to a situation that can be dangerous for its health and welfare, such as, for example, leaving them in a car in very hot or cold weather. We all know how hot it can be in a few minutes in a car. And when we think that, at least in Europe, nearly every year I can read in the newspaper that a baby was forgotten in the car. And I mean, how can it happen that someone comes to, maybe not an exhibitor, but a visitor comes to the dog show, and he thinks, oh, I have a quick look around and I leave my dog in the car because I don't want it to meet other dogs. Maybe he doesn't like it. And then he meets a friend and they go and they talk and they talk, and the dog is still in the car. And it is getting, when you see how hot it is, you can see it here, how quick and how hot a car is. So in my opinion as well, it is not only the exhibitor who is in charge, also the organizer. And in Europe we have this problem a bit under control now, because we have volunteers who are checking the whole day the parking place. It is not a really nice work, but it helps. And of course, that is absolutely a no-go to treat the dog in a bad manner. Violation of this ruling will result in exclusion from the ongoing and future dog shows. That means that the exhibitor can be banned from dog shows if it is necessary. It normally doesn't happen. At least we do it. We give, like in football, we give a yellow card, and when the same people get a red card, they are not allowed to come for maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. It depends on the problem. That we ban them from all our dog shows. In international guidelines about doping, I found the following. Participating dogs must not be injured or ill. Furthermore, they must be not affected in any forbidden way. For example, they must not have received treatments that may illegally affect their appearance in a way that is not allowed, performance or reactions, or the way in which injuries or illnesses manifest themselves. And that's what I mean when you read this text. It is very theoretically. Dogs whose coat, noses or skin have been treated with a substance that changed their color or structure are prohibited from participating in shows. No powder, no spray, no liquid means no problems. All dogs must be available for examination and test that may be necessary in order to check for doping or other forbidden measures. The organizer is entitled to copy veterinarian certificates. Of course, when an exhibitor comes to a dog show and has a certificate for a special treatment, we have to accept it, but they have to have the certificate. Forbidden methods. The actual effect of the use of a forbidden method is not relevant. So whatever they have given, it doesn't matter. If it helped or if it didn't help, it doesn't matter. This is the rule. In trials, shows and competitions, the following are also prohibited. Measures to relieve pain. Everybody knows Metacam is very well used, but actually it is forbidden to give that if you want to go to a show with your dog or to other activities. Measures that affect the dog's general condition. Disease processes should not be affected. In the case of shows, measures that alter a natural coat or structure of the skin, nose or coat are also prohibited. I mean, this is exaggerated a picture, and we don't see that at shows, but it is just a funny picture. And it does not mean that some dogs are not colored when they come to shows. I have never seen a pug like that, but actually somebody did it because I found the photo. But also this very nice poodle, it's a beautiful poodle. This coat is not naturally groomed, it's not possible. So there's something in the coat. I don't blame the person for that because that's the way we look for nice poodles. But officially it is not allowed. Most important for all of us, I found in international breeding rules of the FCI. The international breeding regulations of Federation of the FCI are binding on all members and contract partners. These regulations appeal directly to all members and contract partners. This means that for the purpose of breeding puppies recognized by the FCI, breeding may only be carried out with pedigree dogs, which have a sound temperament, are healthy and functional and hereditary terms, and are registered with a stud book or registered in an appendix, recognized as well by the FCI. In addition, they have to fulfill the requirements specified by the relevant FCI members or contract partners. And this last sentence is important for kennel clubs, because that means our regulation, FCI regulation, are the minimum and are the basic. And if a kennel club wants to get stronger regulations, it is not forbidden. If it's necessary, you have to do that in your kennel club. You have to strengthen the regulation when you think it is really necessary. The only dogs which are considered to be healthy in hereditary terms are those transferring breed standard features, breed type and temperament typical of that breed, without displaying any substantial hereditary defects which could impair the functional health of its descendants. The members and contract partners of the FCI are required in this regard to prevent any exaggeration of breed features in the standard which could result in impairment of dogs' functional health. We were talking since yesterday about fit for function in many ways, and we have it in our regulations. Dogs with eliminating faults, for example, unsound temperament. I mean, even a Chihuahua can bite you. Deafness or blindness. Thanks God we don't see that very often at dog shows. Hair lip or cleft palate. Substantial dental defects or jaw anomalies. This poor dog cannot even bite a flea. And then the other kind of illness, PRR, epilepsy, cryptorchidism, albinism, improper coat colors, or diagnosis severe hips dysplasia. With all these dogs should not be bred. In the Finnish Kennel Club regulations, as I was searching in different kennel clubs, the Finnish regulations, I thought they are very interesting. Dog show participation is not open to dogs which are not vaccinated in accordance with the Finnish Kennel Club's vaccination regulations. And I must say, in this I found in nearly every single website of the kennel clubs, dogs who want to go and participate in whatever, in agility or at dog shows or at racing courses, they have to be vaccinated. In most countries, they have to be vaccinated. Distemper, hepatitis, leptospirose, kennel cord, and when they come from other countries, of course, with rabies vaccination. So this is not the most important. Sick dogs are not allowed. We always say, yes, a sick dog should not come to the dog show, but sometimes when you go around, you see a limping dog, or you see a dog with a very special diarrhea, you think cannot be from one day, and people are still coming. So in Finnish regulation, it is, oh yes, we have seen it. We have seen it. In Finnish regulations, it is written. And this is why I especially wrote, put that in the presentation. Bitches in whelp 30 days or less before they get their puppies. That means they count for the 63 days, 9 weeks. 30 days before they should get their puppies, they are not allowed to be shown. And bitches that have whelped nearly 11 weeks before They are also not allowed to be shown. And we had that proposal at the Show and Judges Commission meeting, I think 4 years ago, that it would be implemented in all show regulations from the FCI, but it did not go through. Not because it was not a good idea, but the Finnish Kennel Club has a super software. They can check everything, and everything is open. You can see when a dog was mated, you can see if a dog has HD or whatever. All the results are open to everybody. And the system is so good that the system will check it by itself. In my kennel club, we have no possibility to check if someone shows a dog and then maybe 5 weeks or 4 weeks later the bitch will get puppies. Maybe it's only one puppy and then you don't see it or you don't feel it. So this is why we didn't get that to the show and judges regulations. Then further on in the Finnish regulation, dogs that have been cropped and dogged contrary to Finnish law, that is normal in Europe. Dogs which are dogged or cropped are nearly not allowed to be shown in any countries anymore. Then, of course, aggressive dogs. And then dogs which have been subject to measures aimed at altering a fault mentioned in the breed standard or some other characteristics that is considered to be a fault. And then, very important, dogs whose coat has been dyed or which have been groomed in a manner that is contrary to the breed standard with the purpose of concealing, for example, a long coat or a dog's actual coat quality. A dog whose performance has been affected in a way that is in breach of the Finnish Kennel Club's anti-doping regulations. In agility regulations of the FCI, I found that the competition is open to all healthy and physically fit dogs. In rules and guidelines for obedience trials, health dogs that are blind, suffer from contagious disease or infections, or have hookworms, scabies, or any other vermin, as well as dogs that are aggressive, may not participate in obedience trials. Dogs that are taped, stitched, or bandaged are not allowed to participate. And in utility dogs regulations, the preamble says, when it comes to training, the physical as well as the psychological health of the dog is top priority. It is imperative that the dog be handled in a fair, orderly and human way. This also should include adequate care of the dog through proper nutrition and water, as well as maintaining his health, which needs to include regular vaccination and veterinary examinations. In addition to this, there is an additional duty to the dog to properly socialize him and to ensure exercise to meet his needs. Then at the sighthound regulations, I found the following: protection of animals. The notion of the animal protection and welfare must always be observed, not only at racing and lure cursing events. The safety and health of the animal must always guide all official and participants during racing and lure. In accordance with the principle of the protection of animals, dogs must be exempted from unnecessary runs. Consequently, the owner of a dog is always free to withdraw his dog from a racing coursing event or lure coursing event. The organizer will employ a veterinary surgeon for the event, what is very important because some accidents may happen, and if the vet is not there, then it is really not a good situation. If the veterinary surgeon considers the dog's health is endangered, the judges must exclude the dog from continuing the racing or the coursing. Further, female in heat, mated or pregnant, or females that have just been lactated are not allowed to start. This exclusion is valid until the end of the 12th week after the litter day. All kinds of doping are forbidden. Leg tapes are permitted to protect the upper claws from injury, like you can see there on the picture. Taping of the inside of the back legs is also allowed. When you remember at the other regulation, taping or stitching was not allowed, but for the racing it is allowed to protect the dogs. Application of the front legs tapes shall be done according to this picture, where you can see exactly how it is done to protect the thumb. You see all these articles in most of FCI regulations that are related to health and welfare of dogs. Whether these regulations are sufficiently respected is another question, and followed is up to the organizers of the various events, the judges, and also the owners of the dogs. We can write whatever we want to write. On paper you can put everything, but we have to react and we have to follow these rules, because, as I said before, these are minimum rules. We should not go below the minimum with what we accept at all our different activities. With our hobby, we are always in the spotlight worldwide, and we should always be aware of it. That was my presentation. Thank you.
De alguna enfermedad de la raza se tiene que resolver en la raza per se, y de esa forma la FCI no puede decir tienen que hacer esto o lo otro. Pero ¿no crees que sea algo que la FCI pueda considerar debido a los problemas que hemos tenido actualmente con grupos de bienestar animal a lo largo de todo el mundo, que puedan considerar?
It's a very, very difficult question, and has, unfortunately, as you know by yourself, nothing to do with our regulations. In Austria and in Germany, the authorities made that rule, and this that it happened. It is not at all from the FCI. The FCI gives all support to the countries if they ask for it. In the moment, they did not ask. But we are in good contact now with Germany, because in Germany not only the naked dogs are not allowed, there are many other things which are not allowed. You will see that tomorrow from my other presentation. But FCI is unfortunately, very unfortunately, not in the position to change a law in Austria or wherever, or in Mexico. I mean, it's, we don't have the power. It would be nice to have the power, but we don't have it.
Thank you, Mrs. Mueller. Has the FCI Health and Welfare Committee ever considered looking at mandatory testing for breed-specific orders throughout the countries that the FCI are actually in?
I'm sorry, but I didn't understand your question.
Has the FCI...
Could you speak into the microphone?
Oh, sorry, is that better?
Maybe, yes.
Thank
Maybe.
you. Has the FCI at any time ever considered looking at mandatory testing for breed-specific disorders for the countries that are under the umbrella of FCI?
No, we are not in that position to do that.
And why would that be, so that the FCI would not consider looking at mandatory testing for breed-specific disorders where the test is available in their country or in their region?
The FCI is not in the position to let somebody check something, whatever you ask me. We are, the umbrella is, the FCI is the umbrella of all these countries, that is right. But when there is a disease in a breed, it has to be solved in that breed. And the FCI cannot say, you have to do this or this.
But would it not be something the FCI would consider due to the problems that we are currently having with animal welfare groups throughout the world, to consider looking at mandatory testing for breed-specific disorders where the test is available, so that it looks like the FCI is actually doing something to combat the animal welfare groups and looking at the health and welfare of our dogs?
Maybe I give the microphone to our president.
Can I just...
This question actually has nothing to do with what I was supposed to show you.
Can I just add to that, Barbara, maybe to clarify? The FCI doesn't register dogs. The registering of dogs comes under national kennel clubs. They set the rules and regulations for what breeders should do. So it should be an initiative of, or it comes under the jurisdiction and control of a national canine organization, not the FCI. The FCI has rules as an umbrella organization, recommendations, but they are not in a position to enforce them, because the registration of puppies are done by individual kennel clubs, not the FCI. The FCI does not register puppies.
I would just like to add two things for this question. If we are talking about regulations compulsory for all kennel clubs under the FCI, that would mean we are talking about 98 countries. And if you want to solve genetically inherited diseases, you have to think on a population level, think on the breed, think on the territory. So one strategy working, for example, in Belgium, in that population, on that dogs, would not work in Mexico, for example, or Philippines. That's why it is a very complex system, and in most cases, breed clubs should work on that, because they see the population, they have the data, they can set up strategies. Another thing, you mentioned that animal welfare organizations attacking breeders and the FCI and the Kennel Club. It is an absolutely other topic. We have to debunk all those myths and misunderstandings and all those propaganda around demonizing breeders and the kennel clubs.
I want to thank the FCI board members for giving Mexico the opportunity of having this important World Congress for Welfare and Health for the dogs worldwide. We are really pleased, and thank you so much for giving us this great opportunity. And also I want to thank all the speakers from all over the world who participate in this great event. Thank you.